You've seen the scary headlines about microplastics, right? It's so easy to feel completely overwhelmed. But in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you some simple, practical things you can do that make a huge difference in your daily exposure. And yeah, those headlines, they're not just clickbait. They are based on real emerging science. These tiny little plastic particles are showing up in places we never, ever expected, which is exactly why getting a handle on this is so important. So, how much are we actually talking about here? Well, scientists estimate that some of us could be consuming about 5 grams of plastic particles every single week. Now, to really put that in perspective, that is like eating an entire credit card, week after week. I mean, when you picture it like that, it becomes pretty clear why we need to pay attention. So, let's take a quick second to talk about why this is a health concern before we jump into all the solutions. Microplastics are pretty much what they sound like. Teeny tiny plastic pieces, smaller than a sesame seed. And studies have now confirmed they're pretty much all over the human body. We're talking our bloodstream, our lungs, you name it. And this is where it gets really serious. This data comes from a huge 2024 study in the New England Journal of Medicine. What it found was that patients who had detectable microplastics in the plaque of their arteries had a staggering 450% increased risk of a heart attack, stroke, or death over a 3-year period. That is a massive warning sign. Okay, that's the problem. I get it. It's a lot. But let's pivot to the solutions, because the good news is you don't have to do everything. We're going to focus on the 3 changes that will give you the absolute biggest bang for your buck, starting right now. Your single biggest win is upgrading your water. It turns out both tap and bottled water are major sources of microplastics. The most effective fix here is what's called a reverse osmosis, or RO filter. It can get rid of over 99% of these particles. So, when you're choosing a filter, the really crucial thing to look for is this certification, NSF/ANSI Standard 401. And while, yeah, RO is the gold standard, a good carbon filter is a really solid, budget-friendly option. Just remember, any filter is only as good as its maintenance, so you've got to replace those cartridges on time. Big win number 2 is all about the kitchen, and the key word here is heat. You know, microwaving your leftovers in a plastic container, that can release millions of microplastic particles directly into your food. The swap is so simple. Just use glass or stainless steel, especially for anything hot. And here's a source that might actually surprise you: your cutting board. Yeah, really. Every single time you chop on a plastic board, that knife is creating tiny grooves and releasing plastic particles right into your food. The best alternative? A good old-fashioned wood or bamboo board. You might be thinking, how much can it really be? Well, recent research suggests a typical plastic cutting board could be adding up to 50 grams of microplastics to your diet every year. That's 10 credit cards from just one kitchen item. I mean, when you see it that way, swapping it out becomes a total no-brainer, right? Okay, we've hit the big 3. Now, let's talk about the invisible plastics that are just kind of floating around our homes, mostly from dust and synthetic fibers. So much of our clothing, polyester, nylon, all that stuff, it's made of plastic. And every time we wear and wash these clothes, they shed tiny microfibers. A really simple habit to get into is just checking the label and choosing natural fibers like cotton, linen, or wool whenever you can. And it's not just our clothes. Those microfibers, plus ones from our carpets and furniture, all end up in our household dust, which we then breathe in. Your secret weapon here is a vacuum with a HEPA filter. See, unlike standard vacuums that can just blow these tiny particles back into the air, a HEPA filter is actually designed to trap them for good. All right, now for some insider knowledge. Let's uncover a couple of surprising sources of plastic-related chemicals you're probably exposed to every day, and more importantly, how to easily avoid them. Think about every single store receipt you touch. Most of them are printed on thermal paper that's coated with chemicals like BPA or BPS. These things can be absorbed right through your skin, and that absorption goes way up if your hands are damp or if you just used hand sanitizer. The key here is just to minimize contact. The best option, hands down, is to ask for an email receipt. But if you have to take a paper one, just remember to wash your hands with soap and water afterward, not sanitizer, because that can actually make it worse. Okay, here's another one hiding in plain sight: the ingredient list on your personal care products. Because of this weird labeling loophole, dozens of chemicals, including harmful phthalates that can mess with your hormones, can be legally hidden under the one single word, fragrance. So to avoid them, just look for products that are explicitly labeled fragrance-free and phthalate-free. We have covered a lot of ground. But the most important tool you have for reducing your exposure isn't a filter or a cutting board, it's your mindset. Trying to eliminate 100% of microplastics from your life? Well, it's impossible. And the stress of trying is probably going to do more harm than good. Just remember this quote: "The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just to be better, one little step at a time." And this is what that actually looks like. Don't try to do everything all at once. Just pick one thing. Maybe this month you focus on your water. Next month, you grab that wooden cutting board. Making these small, sustainable changes is what really leads to long-term progress. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After everything we've talked about, what's the one simple swap you can commit to making this week? Because that one small decision, that's how real change actually begins.